Hi, I'm Dr. James Carter, a urologist with over 25 years of experience helping men stay healthy as they age. Today, I want to talk to you about something most older men don't hear enough about: masturbation habits, and how some of them might be quietly damaging your health. This isn't about shame. It's about awareness. Because after 60, what used to be harmless can now affect your hormones, energy, and even mental clarity. In this video, I'll share 5 shocking masturbation mistakes I've seen in my patients, and what you can do differently to stay strong, balanced, and confident. Let's dive in. 1. Over-masturbation without proper recovery. Let's begin with one of the most common, and surprisingly overlooked, mistakes I see in men over 60, masturbating too often without giving the body enough time to rest and recover. Now, let me be clear, masturbation itself isn't harmful. In fact, in moderation, it can support prostate health, reduce stress, and help you stay in touch with your body. But as we age, our systems, especially our hormonal and nervous systems, aren't as quick to bounce back as they once were. What you could easily do in your 30s or 40s may now leave you feeling unexpectedly drained or emotionally off balance. Many older men tell me they feel more tired, mentally foggy, irritable, or even less motivated, but they never consider that frequent masturbation might be part of the reason. What's happening under the surface is that your body needs more time to rebuild testosterone, restore neurological balance, and simply recharge. Without that recovery time, you're quietly running yourself into a state of depletion. And the tricky part? Most men don't notice the effects right away. It happens slowly. Maybe you feel just a little less sharp each week. Maybe your workouts aren't as strong. Maybe you're relying on caffeine more often. These are subtle signals your body is giving you, and they deserve your attention. So, how often is too often? Well, there's no one-size-fits-all number. But in my clinical experience, 2 to 3 times per week is generally a healthy rhythm for most senior men. This allows your body to enjoy the benefits of release without creating a hormonal or neurological deficit. Also, it's not just about frequency. It's about intention. If masturbation becomes a routine habit without thought, it's easy to slide into patterns that leave you feeling worse, not better. So my advice? Check in with yourself. Notice how you feel after. Are you refreshed and relaxed? Or sluggish and moody? Your body's feedback is the best guide you have. Up next, we'll look at another major factor that affects senior men's sexual and mental health, and it's hiding in plain sight on your screen every day. 2. Consuming too much explicit content. Let's move on to the next silent culprit behind declining sexual and mental health in older men: consuming too much explicit content, especially in the form of online adult material. I want to be honest with you, this is one of the hardest topics for many of my older patients to talk about. But I've seen the effects firsthand, over and over again. And it's something we need to address without shame, but with awareness. When you're in your 20s or 30s, your brain is still incredibly plastic. It's more capable of handling intense stimulation, like what you see in most modern adult content. But after 60, the brain becomes more sensitive, especially to dopamine spikes. You see, every time you watch explicit content, your brain releases a powerful surge of dopamine, the feel-good chemical. At first, it feels exciting. But over time, that constant overstimulation starts to desensitize your brain's natural reward system. What that means in real terms is this: things that used to bring you pleasure, like walking in nature, meaningful conversations, or even real-life intimacy, may start to feel dull or unsatisfying. Some men develop what's known as porn-induced erectile dysfunction, a real and growing issue. Their body works fine, but their brain no longer responds to real-life intimacy the way it once did. It's frustrating, confusing, and can damage confidence deeply. Even more concerning, regular use of explicit content is linked with increased anxiety, loneliness, sleep problems, and reduced motivation, especially in older adults. Why? Because it hijacks the brain's reward system, and that system is slower to reset as we age. So what can you do? You don't need to eliminate everything overnight. But start by being mindful of how often you watch, how it makes you feel afterward, and whether it's helping or hurting your sense of well-being. Replace screen time with real connection, even if it's a phone call or a walk with a friend. Your brain and body will thank you more than you know. In the next section, we'll explore a third habit, one that might seem harmless but could be slowly impacting your hormone balance and energy levels more than you realize. 3. Ignoring hormonal changes and testosterone decline. Now, let's talk about something that most men over 60 underestimate or completely ignore: hormonal changes, especially the gradual decline in testosterone. This is a big one. Testosterone isn't just about sex drive. It affects nearly everything in a man's well-being: your energy, strength, mood, memory, bone density, muscle mass, and even your ability to feel motivated and confident. And as we age, testosterone naturally begins to decline, usually starting around your 40s, and more noticeably after 60. The problem is, most men don't realize how much this impacts their health until they're already struggling. They blame aging, bad sleep, or even depression, when in fact, it could be their hormones waving a red flag. Now, when it comes to masturbation and hormonal balance, here's what I want you to understand. Frequent ejaculation, combined with low testosterone levels, can leave your body in a state of chronic fatigue. It's like trying to run a car with low oil. It still works, but everything feels sluggish, less efficient, and more vulnerable to breakdown. Many older men tell me things like, "I used to feel refreshed after release, now I just feel empty. I'm not sleeping as well. My drive for anything is just gone." These aren't just signs of aging. They're potential indicators that your androgen levels are declining, and your body isn't getting the hormonal support it once had. So, what should you do? First, don't self-diagnose or panic. But do start by observing yourself. Are you more tired than usual? Is your libido lower than it used to be? Are your workouts less effective? If so, it might be time to talk with your doctor about checking your testosterone levels. A simple blood test can offer major insights, and even if you're not interested in hormone therapy, there are natural ways to support testosterone: strength training, getting enough deep sleep, eating zinc and magnesium-rich foods, reducing chronic stress and alcohol consumption. The bottom line? Don't let this invisible shift catch you off guard. You still have control, but only if you recognize what's happening inside your body. Up next, we'll explore another hidden habit, one that isn't physical, but emotional, and it could be silently killing your motivation and joy without you realizing it. 4. Using masturbation as an emotional escape. So far, we've talked about the physical and hormonal aspects of masturbation. Now let's shift gears and look at something even more subtle, but just as impactful: using masturbation as a way to avoid emotional discomfort. You see, many older men go through silent emotional battles: loneliness, grief, boredom, frustration, or even a sense of lost identity after retirement or major life changes. And often, instead of facing these emotions or talking about them, men turn to the most familiar form of self-soothing they know: masturbation. Let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with seeking comfort. But when masturbation becomes a coping mechanism, a way to fill emotional emptiness rather than expressing it or working through it, that's when problems can start to snowball. Over time, this pattern can become deeply ingrained. You feel anxious or restless, so you go for that temporary release. It brings a moment of calm. But then what happens? The underlying issue remains, and you may find yourself returning again and again, not for pleasure, but for escape. This can lead to emotional numbing, where you start to feel disconnected from yourself and others. It can make real relationships harder, reduce your motivation to engage in fulfilling activities, and over time, lead to a quiet sense of isolation even if you're surrounded by people. What's more, using masturbation as a default emotional outlet can mask more serious mental health issues, like low-grade depression or anxiety, which often go undiagnosed in older men. So what can you do? Start by asking yourself an honest question: am I doing this because I truly want to? Or because I don't want to feel something else? That single question can open a door to better emotional awareness. From there, try building new ways to process your emotions: journaling, meditation, joining a senior group, or simply talking to someone you trust. Even a short walk outside when you feel the urge can interrupt the pattern and give your mind a reset. Remember, real strength doesn't mean avoiding emotion, it means learning how to face it with honesty and care. Coming up next, we'll discuss the final habit, a subtle but serious mistake many senior men make that quietly affects their confidence, relationships, and long-term vitality. 5. Hiding sexual health concerns instead of seeking support. Let's talk about one of the most damaging habits of all, and yet, the one that's hardest for many men to admit: keeping silent about sexual health issues. In my years of practice, I've seen this more times than I can count. A man starts noticing changes. Maybe he's not performing the way he used to, maybe his desire is lower, maybe something just feels off. But instead of talking to a doctor, a partner, or even a trusted friend, he keeps it all to himself. He stays quiet. Why? Often because of pride, embarrassment, or the belief that this is just what happens when you get older. But here's the truth: staying silent doesn't protect you. It isolates you. And worse, it can delay real solutions that could bring back vitality, confidence, and connection. Let me give you an example. I had a patient, let's call him Michael, who came to see me after quietly struggling with erectile issues for nearly 2 years. In that time, he'd withdrawn from his partner, stopped dating, and lost interest in socializing altogether. When we finally talked, he was shocked to learn that his issue was related to a simple blood flow problem, easily treatable with lifestyle changes and, if needed, mild medication. The relief on his face when he realized it wasn't the end was something I'll never forget. Here's the key message: you are not alone. Whatever you're experiencing, there are millions of men going through the same thing. And there are doctors, therapists, support groups, and resources specifically designed to help men like you, not judge you. The longer you stay in silence, the more these challenges can snowball, affecting not only your physical health, but your relationships, mood, and even your sense of identity. So I urge you, speak up. Ask questions. Get tested. Seek answers. Your health deserves your voice. And the sooner you bring these concerns into the open, the sooner you can start living with more freedom, energy, and peace of mind. Now, let's wrap this all up with a few final thoughts and what you can do today to start making positive changes for your long-term health. Thank you for staying with me through this important conversation. We've uncovered 5 habits that many senior men fall into often without realizing the toll they take on physical, emotional, and sexual health. The truth is, these habits don't define you, and they're not a life sentence. With just a little awareness and a few small shifts, you can begin to reclaim energy, confidence, and joy at any age. You don't have to do it all at once. Start with one step. Maybe it's talking to your doctor, cutting back on overstimulation, or simply paying more attention to how you feel. Growing older isn't the end of your vitality, it's an invitation to grow wiser, stronger, and more intentional. Take care of yourself. Stay curious. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. If this video spoke to you, consider sharing it with a friend. You never know who might be silently struggling and who might need to hear that it's okay to ask for help.